about a supernatural intervention of God that removes obstacle and create a path for progress. Supernatural intervention of God that removes obstacles and creates a path for progress. Creates a path for progress, creates a path for victory and the fulfillment of God's promises. It signifies the moment when God's power overrides human law, overrides protocols, and overrides limitations. It signifies when the power of God makes the impossible possible. Now, we'll be looking at this evening briefly the nature, the process, and the blessing of breakthrough. The nature, the process, the blessing of breakthrough. What is breakthrough? Supernatural intervention. God stepping in to overturn challenges. God stepping in to overturn challenges. Supernatural intervention. God stepping in, put it down, to overturn challenges. Number two, breaking barriers. Breaking of barriers. It equally means overcoming limitations and restrictions sent against you or against the people. The third one is the manifestation of God's power over the activities of men. Demonstration of God's authority over situations. Psalm 62 and in verse 11. God has spoken once, twice have I heard this, that power belongeth unto God. Breakthrough is a season where God manifests his power in the life of his people. Another thing about breakthrough is that breakthrough is a season of testimonies. Breakthrough leads to testimony of God's power, of God's greatness, of God's might. Psalm 126 verse 1 to 3. When the Lord turned again the captivity of Zion, we were like them that dream. God turning away captivity. Let's look at biblical example. David experienced a breakthrough at Baal-perazim when he defeated his enemies. He experienced a breakthrough at Baal-perazim when he defeated his enemies. I'll still come back to this as we progress. Now, signs that you need breakthrough. What are the signs that one needs breakthrough? Number one, when there is stagnation, when there is delay, when you have stood at one point for a long time, when the only thing that grows in your life is age, when progress seems impossible. According to Luke chapter 5 verse 5, you notice that a man called Peter did everything at his disposal. His problem was not laziness. He was an expert, but every effort didn't produce a result. Breakthrough is when God reverses your failure and turn your message to your mess to testimony. The next one is when there are overwhelming challenges and battles. When the battles of life becomes heavy to bear, you need breakthrough. Exodus chapter 14, from verse 10 to 14, you see behind them were the Israelites and the Egyptians, and they needed breakthrough. And they didn't even know that there is a path God has already created in the sea. When there is overwhelming challenges, you need breakthrough. Number three, when there is persistence, barrenness. Now, when we talk about barrenness, we are talking about unfruitfulness. Unfruitfulness in every area of life. Unfruitfulness in every area of life. Number four, repeated failure or failure at the point of breakthrough. When efforts continually end in disappointment. Efforts, every effort ends in disappointment. Effort ends in disappointment. Luke chapter 5, verse 4 to 7. Biblical example. The Israelites needed a breakthrough at the Red Sea when Pharaoh pursued them. And some of them looked at Moses and said, is it because there is no grave in Egypt? We know your plan. You have brought us here. And when Moses was worried and God said, tell them to move forward, that the Egyptians they see today, they will see no more. Did you notice that in the same place where they saw light was in the same place their enemies saw darkness? In the same part. Did you equally notice that in the same place where was parted for them to pass through, the same sea was the sea that swallowed their enemies? That's breakthrough. Now, what is key to breakthrough? Keys to breakthrough. If God permits me, maybe another time I have opportunity, we may do a part two of this, but we'll just try to lay foundation. One, obedience to God's word. Luke chapter 5, verse 5 to 6. Following divine instruction produces breakthrough. Following divine instruction produces breakthrough. Can I pray for you? May the Lord give you a breakthrough. I say again, may God give you a breakthrough. 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 17. We are going to read 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 17 to 20. But when the Philistines heard that they had anointed David king over Israel, and all the Philistines came up to seek David, and David heard of it and went down to the hold. The Philistines also came and spread themselves in the valley of Rephaim. And David inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I go up to the Philistines that without deliver them into my hand? And the Lord said unto David, go up, for I will doubtless deliver the Philistines into thy hand. Verse 20. And David came to Baal-perazim, and David smote them there, and said, the Lord has broken forth upon my enemies before me as the breach of water. Therefore he called the name of that place Baal-perazim. Now look at another thing I want you to see. In verse 22, and the Philistines came up yet again and spread themselves in the valley of Rephaim. And when David inquired of the Lord, he said, Thou shalt not go, but fetch a compass behind them, and come upon them over against the mulberry trees. And let it be, when thou hearest the sound of a going in the top of the mulberry trees, that when thou shalt be stirred for them, for then shall the Lord go out before thee to smite the Philistines. And David did so as the Lord has commanded him, and smote the Philistines from Geba until thou come to Gaza. Now, did you notice that the same enemies, the same battle, but different strategy by divine instruction? All of us know that David has always been a man of war. You get what I'm saying? So he has always been a man of war. He would have just woken up and said, I will go. Already I have a track record. But he